Okay, so remember we did our activity on Friday where we rotated our triangles a bunch, okay? If we continue to do it, we did run out of time, you would end up with something like this. Okay, just all those rotations of your triangles. What we want to look at is the parallel lines that are created as a result. So write this in on there. There's one line. There's this line. And then we have this transversal. Okay, so draw it on there, just draw a Sharpie. We've created a bunch of parallel lines. Now you're going to need 3 colors to color coordinate our angles like we did before. So let me get my crayons out if you don't have them. Yeah, I got it.
I can get a crayon. Oh, yeah. My mom's gonna get me one of those.
Okay, so I've just taken that part and I have cut it down into here. And you can see a little better on my copy because my copy's color. The angles that go together, that are congruent because of the different colors we have. So like these 2 angles and these 2 angles and these 2 angles here. So let's review that. So this angle right here is angle 1. So color angle 1. This is also green in our page, so we're going to color the 4 as well. Number 5, this is green and this is green, so we're going to color all the green ones here and here. Is everyone with me on that? So angle 1 and angle 4, angle 5 and angle 8 are all congruent. Okay, then we're going to go to the next one. This is a little trickier because it's 2 angles together. Notice that this is pink and blue together, and these 2 are pink and blue together. So these together are the same angle, here and here. So that's my 2 and my 3 here. That make sense? Same with 6 and 7. Those are the blue and the red together, so they are congruent to each other as well. Any questions on that? So what we see here is that yellows are congruent. to each other. Let's see. Okay, and then the pinks are congruent to each other. However you color coordinated them, you say. So if you have different colors, tell me which colors are congruent to each other. What do we notice about the yellow and the pink together? And how do we know it's 180? Because it forms a straight angle. Those are a linear pair. 1 and 2 are a linear pair. They form a straight line. So that gives me their supplementary to each other, or they equal 180. So pink and yellow are supplementary. That means they equal 180. Because they form that linear pair, that straight line. Any questions over that? Okay, so now we have to name a bunch of angles. In lines cut by a transversal, we have a bunch of special types of angles that we have an actual name for. Grab the paper, put your cell phone up there. So we have alternate exterior angles in parallel lines. Give me a second here. Hold on a second. Oh, it's gonna turn around long. Give me a second. Okay. Let's try this again. Two angles that lie outside the two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. Two angles that lie outside the two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. Okay. So examples of those. Grab the papers. If we look back at our figure, angle 1 is outside the parallel lines, and angle 8 is outside the parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So this is your transversal line. 1 is on the right-hand side. Is it right for you guys? On the right-hand side, and 8 is on the left-hand side, and they're outside the parallel lines. So angle angle 1 and angle 8. And since they're both yellow, that means the yellows are congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 8. Sorry that that's so messy. There's another pair of alternate exterior angles. Okay, 2 lies outside of my parallel lines. And then 7 is also outside, and they're both on opposite sides. So angle 2 and angle 7. So the measure of angle 2 is congruent to the measure of angle, no, not measure, sorry. Doesn't need the measure because it's not an equal sign. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. Any questions over that? We're all good? Okay, so that's alternate exterior. Now we're gonna do interior. So it's the same idea. The only thing is now they lie inside the parallel lines. So 2, oh, it doesn't like, why didn't it do that? Darn it. Yep. There we go. So 2 angles that lie inside the 2 lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. Two angles that lie inside the 2 lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. So now instead of being outside the parallel lines, they're going to be in the middle. Any questions over that? So if we look back at our figure, the 3 is inside and the 6 is inside, and they're on opposite sides. One's on the right-hand side of the transversal, one's on the left-hand side of the transversal. So 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles of those parallel lines. Angle 3 and angle 6. And since they're both pink, angle 3 is congruent to angle 6. There is another. Yep. The 2 yellow ones that are inside the lines, 4 and 5. Angle 4 and angle 5. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. Any questions over that? We're all good? Okay, next one. Same side interior angles, which is what exactly it sounds like. They are on the same side or inside. I'm sorry, 2 angles that lie inside the 2 lines and on the same side of the transversal. Two angles that lie inside the two lines and on the same side of the transversal. Any questions over that? Okay, so we look back. The two angles that are inside, 3, and the one that's on the same side as it is 5, 3 and 5. So those are same side interior. Angle 3 and angle 5. Now notice 3 and 5 are a pink and a yellow. So they're not congruent to each other, they are supplementary. Pink and yellow are supplementary. That means they add to 180. So the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 5 equals 180. Sorry that my handwriting is so bad with this. I'm getting there. Hopefully you can read it as I'm writing it. Do you need me to move up? The other one would be then 4 and 6. Angle 4 and angle 6 are also inside my parallel lines and on the same side. And they're supplementary, so the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 6 equals 180. Any questions over that? Okay, then we have our last set is corresponding angles. No idea what that was. Okay, and those are two angles. That occupy the corresponding positions. So they're both on the same side of the transversal, both above the lines, both below the lines, and you'll see those. So angle 1 is above this top line and on the right-hand side of your transversal. Angle 5 is above the bottom line and is on the right-hand side of the transversal. So 1 and 5 are called corresponding angles. Okay, and those are both yellow, so they are congruent. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Any questions over that? Okay, then we have another set. Okay, so angle 3 is below that top line and on the right-hand side of your transversal. And angle 7 is below the bottom line and on the right-hand side of the transversal. So 3 and 7 are also corresponding angles. Wow. Was it 7? Yes. And they're both pink, so angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. Any questions over that? Okay, we still have more because we have the left-hand side. Can someone name a pair of corresponding angles for me? Yep. 2 and 6. Okay, they're on the left-hand side now, both above the line. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. Jeremy, there's also one more. Huh? There's one more pair of corresponding angles. Oh, good. Thank you, whoever helped him out there. Okay, angle 4 and angle 8, because they're both below the line and on the left-hand side. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. Any questions over that? We're all good? Okay, one more set of angles to learn about. Okay, vertical angles. Vertical angles are just formed when two lines intersect. Two angles whose sides form, thank you, two, I'll fix it, pairs of opposite rays. They are formed when two lines intersect. You can also look at them and see linear pairs in them. 1 and 2 are considered a linear pair because they form that straight line. 2 and 3 is considered a linear pair because they form a straight line. 3 and 4 are considered a linear pair because they form a straight line. And 1 and 4 are a linear pair because they form a straight line. That also makes angle 1 would be congruent to angle 3. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. And then we have all the linear pairs. The measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. The measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. The measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180. And then the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180. Any questions over that? Okay, we do have some examples to go over then. You want to find the missing value and explain how you have found it. So remember in parallel lines, and these are going to be parallel lines, we want to show that they are parallel lines by marking them. This is parallel to this. Put the little arrows on them. They should be marked. I'm sorry, I will have to put them on there. I forgot to. But I'm telling you they're parallel now, and now so we can mark them. So we need to look back and see which one or how we can actually find X. Yes.
It would be 1 and 5 if we look at our example and the corresponding
No, that's not corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are not supplementary. Okay, so if you look here, she was saying that 1 and 5 are what those two ones are, 1 and 5. And those are corresponding angles. Let's read. Two angles that occupy the same corresponding positions, and those were congruent. So they're equal to each other. Which makes sense. In parallel lines, it's going to be fairly easy. 61. Does X look like 119 or does it X look more like 61? Right? This is really visual. Okay? It looks closer to 61, so it's 61. So X equals 61 degrees. I don't know how to turn off that notification, or I would, I'm sorry. The only thing then we have to say the reason why. Explain how you know. And we're just write corresponding. I don't know what's doing this now. Corresponding angles are congruent. Are you able to read this at all, you guys? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, B. I want you guys to figure out what type of angles those are.
Maybe a little something.
Spin this out. Okay, MB. Sebastian, any ideas on how I'm going to find what X is in B?
What?
Yeah, what does X equal? And Y?
I think
it's 119 because 61 plus x would equal 183.
Right, those are a linear pair. So you can subtract them and get 119 degrees. These are also alternate interior angles. And this is how we abbreviate alt interior. Oh gosh, I don't know why it's the angles are congruent. Or you could say that 61 and x are a linear pair. 61 and x equal 180. Either one is fine. Or x plus 61 equals 180. Okay, see, now I have to write an equation here. Okay, Philip, what kind of angles do you think we're going to talk to Philip? What kind of angles do you think 5x minus 10 and 55 are? You go back up here. Are they on opposite sides of the transversal? No, so they're not going to be alternate interior. Same side interior. And Philip, what was the relationship between same side interior? Were they congruent or did they add to 180? Very good. Which makes sense. If you look at those two angles, do they look like they're the same angle? One's obtuse, one's acute, so they can't be equal to each other, so they have to add to 180. So these are same side interior angles. And they equal 180. So 5x minus 10 plus 55 equals 180. Oh my goodness, this is so frustrating that it's writing so hardly. So 5x plus 45 equals 180. Subtract the 45 from both sides. And you're going to get 5x equals 135. Houston, did you already write this down? Divide by 5, divide by 5. And you get x equals 5 and going to 13. 2 times. Sorry, I'm in the way. So x should equal 27, I believe.
Wait, what?
That you get 5 and going to 135. 27 times. This is horrible writing.
It's 9.
That's what it said.
Oh,
Okay, I'm right here. I can divide today. We're all good? Okay. D. Oh, why did you say oh no? Why? Huh? Oh, you finished? Oh, there's another reason why we should say oh no. It's got a squared variable, which means what? It's a quadratic equation. We have to factor it or use the quadratic formula to solve it. Okay.
I'll pay you.
Quiet, please. Okay, so these are what are corresponding angles.
Yeah, but I get it.
These are corresponding angles, and so they're equal. Because they're on the same side of the transversal and in the same location above the lines. So this is going to give me x squared minus 63 equals 2x. Okay, we have to set this equal to 0. Just a reminder of how to solve a quadratic. You have to set it equal to 0. So we're going to subtract the 2x from both sides. We're going to get x squared minus 2x minus 63 equals 0. Then we're going to try and factor this. So I'm going to use my box. So this is x squared. This is negative 2x. This is negative 63. This is going to be x and x on this side. Okay, what multiplies?
9 and 7.
Oh, good.
Oh,
This should be 9 and 7. This will give me 9x and 7x. I want a negative 2. So which one needs to be negative? 9, the bigger number. So from there, my factors are x minus 9 and then x plus 7. Okay, then we need to separate them. Set equal to 0. So x minus 9 equals 0. Use the zero product property. One of these two factors needs to be 0 for the whole thing to be 0. So this is going to give me x equals 9 and x equals negative 7. Okay, but we have a nonsense answer here. Okay, if I plug in negative 7 here to the 2x, how big is that angle going to be? Negative 14. Does it make sense that it can equal negative 14? No. So this doesn't work.
Would be 9.
Angles can't be negative. So this is my answer, x equals 9. Because if I plug 9 in to that, I get a positive number. Any questions over that? We're all good? Okay, for the next one it says, can you prove the following lines are parallel? Let's just do this one. Okay. We want to know if 131 and 49 can make those lines parallel. And how do you know yes? Because they add to 180. But are those supposed to be? Because this is a vertical angle with this. And those should be congruent then. And then 131 plus 49 equals 180. And then same, write it down. Side interior angles. Are congruent, or not congruent, are supplementary.
How would you prove H? It's only one in that.
Okay, if this is perpendicular, what is this one?
90.
90 as well, right?
What about the top one?
Those two possible to be perpendicular too. Can you prove this then?
Yeah.
You can't prove it necessarily, not from what we know. Okay, your homework is the worksheet that's attached to this, you guys. By the end of the day. I texted like 15 times to. I'm sorry? Oh, I'll collect it on Friday. Yeah, because you have until the end of the day to turn it in online. Bye, have a good day.